What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. So if you've watched Apple's presentation for the iPhone 13 Pro, you know that the cameras on its back are different than the cameras that we have on the iPhone 13. But is that enough so you can actually notice a difference when you take pictures and videos? Well, we're definitely gonna find out in today's video. Okay, so one main difference in between these two would be the fact that with the iPhone 13 Pro, the main camera on the iPhone 13 Pro, you can actually take macro pictures this time around. So you can be about this close from your subject and the camera can focus. With the iPhone 13, you're gonna have to be fairly far from your subject so the camera can focus. So a pretty important factor if you like macro pictures. These are some examples of pictures that I took with the iPhone 13 Pro and of course the iPhone 13. Next we are moving on and checking out some portrait mode pictures that I took with the 13 Pro and of course the 13. Now looking at those pictures I can't really tell the difference, can you? I mean the pictures do look kind of the same colors, the same edge detection, the same dynamic range, so everything seems to be the same for those portrait mode pictures. So for portrait mode pictures I'm gonna say that there is no difference in between the 13 Pro and the 13. Next we're gonna move on and check out some pictures that I took with the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices, and once again I couldn't really tell the difference for these daytime pictures that I took with the ultra-wide cameras. Now I'm not gonna show you those pictures quite yet, but there are some differences when you take pictures with the ultra-wide cameras and at night, but we'll get there in a bit. So for daytime pictures and the ultra-wide camera, once again there are no differences. Moving on to some 5x zoom pictures. Well, keep in mind that on the back of the iPhone 13 Pro we have an extra camera, that's a telephoto lens. So of course if you're gonna take zoom pictures, the iPhone 13 Pro will do better for all the zoom pictures. They're gonna be sharper and better overall. So for zoom pictures of course the iPhone 13 Pro will do better than the iPhone 13. And of course I also took a bunch of pictures with the main cameras on the 13 Pro and the 13, and well, to my surprise there is no difference. All the pictures look the same. Of course maybe I wasn't holding my hand in the exact same spot, so the pictures may be a bit different, but overall I feel that for the main camera you're not gonna notice a difference if you're taking pictures during the day with the 13 Pro or the 13. So really no difference for that main camera. And we're gonna move on and check out some pictures that I took at night using the night modes on both devices. So they are both just as fast when taking those nighttime pictures, and they are much faster than the iPhone 12, just to give you an example. But in between each other there is really no difference, so it doesn't take longer on one or the other one to take those pictures. Now looking at those pictures that I took with the main cameras, once again I can't really tell the difference. Maybe some pictures are better from the 13 Pro, but then other pictures are better from the 13. So for the main camera using the night mode, personally I cannot notice a difference. But if you can see a difference, definitely leave a comment down below and let us know. But as soon as we move on to the ultra-wide camera and the night mode, I can definitely notice a difference for that picture quality between the 13 Pro and the 13. So most pictures taken from the 13 Pro are sharper and a bit brighter. If you look at the pictures taken by the 13, well, the iPhone 13 doesn't do that great with that ultra-wide lens, even with the night mode. So that is one of the biggest differences that I've noticed between the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13. The picture quality at night when using the ultra-wide camera. And we are gonna move on to video recordings, and once again for video recordings, and I'm talking about daytime video recordings done with the main cameras and the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices, I couldn't notice a difference. The same image stabilization, the same video sharpness, the same colors, everything is the same. Even the microphone recordings are about the same, I'm gonna say. So no difference for daytime videos, but at night time, well, you're not gonna notice that big of a difference for the main camera, but you will notice a difference whenever you're filming with the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the 13 Pro and of course the back of the 13. So I feel that that is the biggest difference that we're gonna see this year, the different ultra-wide cameras on the back of these two devices. So I'll let you watch those sample videos and I'll be right back. Okay, we have a quick recording with the front-facing cameras on the iPhone 13 Pro and of course on the iPhone 13. For this recording I'm doing 4K at 30 frames per second with both devices, but I could also record in 4K at 60 frames per second. Now out here it's a bit windy, there are some kids playing right behind the phones, there are some dogs barking somewhere there, so you may hear that aside from my voice. I'm gonna pan left and right just so you can see how the image changes with the sun hitting me from that side. So yeah, this is how recording done with the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 would look like if you're using that front-facing camera. For our next video test between the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13, we are using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and once again recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. As you can see, it's quite shady here, but it's quite bright out there. So we're gonna stop somewhere around here. We're gonna pan left slowly, just so you can see how that image quality is, and up a bit. And this way, I guess. And I'm also gonna walk straight so you can see how that image stabilization works on both devices. We're gonna stop somewhere around here and pan left all the way. So yeah, this is how recording done with the main cameras on the back of the iPhone 13 and the 13 Pro would look like. For our next test, I've switched the cameras to the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the 13 Pro and of course the back of the 13, and once again recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. We're gonna cross the street somewhere around here, and it's also a bit windy, so you're gonna hear a bunch of wind aside from my voice. We're gonna stop somewhere around here. We'll pan right slowly and up, and back left, and we'll keep walking for a bit. It is getting quite windy, so I'm hoping this recording is good enough so I can actually show it to you. So yeah, ultra wide lenses on the back of the 13 and the back of the 13 Pro. For this recording between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro, I am recording in 4K at 60 frames per second, and I started recording with the ultra wide lens. I'm just gonna walk for a bit. I also wanna switch lenses. So I'm gonna switch the lens on the iPhone 13 first to the main camera, and now on the iPhone 13 Pro. I wanted to show you how that change in between lenses would look like on video. So yeah, 4K at 60 frames per second, currently recording with the main cameras on the back of the iPhone 13 and the 13 Pro. And now we're gonna switch back to that ultra-wide camera. Yeah, that's how this recording would look like. Alright, and we're moving on to a quick recording in low light between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro. For this recording, I'm using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. We're gonna cross the street and we're heading that way where it gets darker. I wanna see if there is a difference in between the main cameras in total darkness, basically. So we're walking this way. So fairly dark here, and I'm not sure I can actually see a difference on the screens, but again, I'm gonna have to see how this footage actually looks on the computer. We'll pan left slowly so it gets brighter once again. Not that big of a difference, at least from what I'm seeing on the screens here. So yeah, main cameras on the back of the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13, recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. And we are moving on to another recording, but this time around I'm using the ultra-wide lenses on the back of the two devices, and once again recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. Let's point the cameras towards this tree here. So here I can see a difference between the camera on the 13 Pro and of course the camera on the 13. So I'm assuming that the ultra-wide lens on the 13 Pro is better than the one that we have on the 13. So yeah, this is how a recording done in low light with the ultra wide lenses on the back of the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro would look like if you're recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. So did you guys notice anything different for those video recordings aside from the ultra wide cameras and recording at night? I think that's the biggest change between the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13. But if you did notice something else, definitely leave a comment down below and let us know. Moving on to some selfies. Well, after I looked at the selfies that I took, and I'm talking about the daytime and the nighttime selfies, once again, I cannot really tell a difference between these two devices. So about the same for selfies as well. So there you have it. This is the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13. Do you think it's worth spending the extra money to get the 13 Pro over the 13? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.